I take my chances on the frozen lakes. I don't go to church on Sundays. I traded my water for whiskey, but I know my God and He knows me. Don't go running your mouth at me about the light and the dark and nothing in between. I see a right and a wrong and a line in the middle. Don't forget about the middle. Don't forget about the middle. Yeah, don't forget about the middle. I fell in love in a bar downtown. She was a one-night stand that stuck around, and I'm the only man she ever dances for now. We're both missing some pieces, we make it work somehow. And don't go pointing your finger at me. You don't know where I've been or what I've seen. Closing your eyes is not the answer to the riddle. I found it in the middle. Yeah, I found it in the middle. Oh, I found it in the middle. Yeah, don't go pointing your finger at me. You don't know where I've been or what I've seen. Closing your eyes is not the answer to the riddle. Yeah, I found it in the middle. Oh, I found it in the middle. I think you'll like it in the middle. Why don't you try it in the middle? Water's nice here in the middle. Water's nice here in the middle.
Okay, well, welcome everyone to what do I got to do here? Welcome to CampFire, and this is not a strong start because, hey, Lucas, I've got echo. What do I need to do? Put my sound down. Okay, so I'm just going to go for it. All right, let's rerun that. Hey, this is Tom Oden, head of secondary at the Audi International School, trying to figure out our new social live platform. And we had a smooth intro with Jeffrey Martin's beautiful song, The Middle. Don't forget about the middle. And that is our theme for tonight. That's our theme. We want to spend the bulk of our program looking into our middle school and the middle school years. And to get us started on that, and we've got a program that's going to talk to a lot of teachers in our middle school and a lot of our middle school students. We're going to build up to a boys and girls basketball preview, and then kind of wrap up with a really exciting event that we're going to debut for next Friday, February 3rd. So stick with us. But to start us off, I want to welcome to the program Miss Penny Cleveland. Penny is our head of student support for the entire school, and specifically working in the also targeting the middle school age. And I know, Penny, you have been working with these students for a long time, right? And I thought it would be a great way to get the program started by just having you talk about when scientists look at this group, when scientists look at this age group, they'll often use language like, this is the time where there's the most growth or the most development other than the beginning kind of months of life. What do they mean by that, and what's going on with that?
That's an awesome question, Tom. So the middle years are awesome because there is so much going on. There's so much happening. I think about one aspect of the middle years is there's a quote from Aristotle that's knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And so the middle years are all about getting to know yourself, right? So it's fun watching the kids go from lower school where they're having more thinking in very concrete ways, right? And if you ask a question, oftentimes kids are starting to make connections, but it's a little bit more of a literal or personal response. Whereas when you get into middle school, it's like everyone's ready to think more abstractly, to think about connections, to think about what they think about their own thinking, questioning things, questioning their beliefs, questioning the beliefs of their family members, questioning the belief systems that they're exposed to at school. That's really part of the developmental process that's so exciting at this time. And I also think about a lot of increasing independence, right? So rather than kids in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, rather than looking so much to adults to tell them what to do or looking to them for direction, that still happens, but they're looking more and more toward each other and to their peers and thinking about, what do their classmates think? How are they going to connect with their classmates? And also thinking about their identity. What kind of person do they want to be on the inside, and what kind of messages are they sending on the external part as well?
Yeah. And as I think through my own experience, both as a, kind of a teacher and an administrator, as well as a parent, I didn't always appreciate that questioning. And sometimes I think, maybe undervalue that peer awareness. I think there's sometimes that we can say that, oh, well, all they care about is their friends, and that's sort of maybe not the most sophisticated or not the most vital thing to be doing. But I think there's a real important kind of biological and human development aspect of that, right? I think that's a key part of that time in life.
Yeah, it's really important. Like the fact that they're really turning toward their peers and going through this experience together of change and exploring themselves and their belief systems is a really important part of it. And questioning and sometimes being argumentative or being a bit contrarian is really helpful and important part of what's happening.
Yeah, awesome. I think another thing that's happening with young people in general, but for sure in that space is, we read a lot about just, kind of rising levels of mental health challenge, rising stressors. And I think those numbers don't lie. I think there's some aspects of the world that we live in that are very stressful. What are some of the mental health resources that we have for students in our middle school at Audi? Different kind of layers of support, and how we are trying to make sure that they are supported to the best of our ability in what are undeniably challenging times.
So I think one thing is the fact that teachers have really good relationships. They know their students. So oftentimes, like as a school counselor, I really hear about from a teacher, I hear something that they've seen. Maybe they've noticed a change in one of the kids, that they're not participating in the same way, or that they're not seeming to be as connected to their peers, or they're seeming tired or sad, or that type of thing. So I think one thing is just thinking about all of those different relationships, like from peer-to-peer relationships that are being observed, changes within the kids, and then the teachers come forward and share those concerns, either with Miss Vermeulen, Miss Lohr, with the grade level.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to pick up for Penny, and then we'll try to get her back on here. But think we were talking about what are some of the different levels of support, and Penny was talking about it really starts at the teacher level, teachers really knowing students. And then we have grade level deans, Ms. Paleva in grade 6, Ms. Al-Makhtari in grade 7, Sankiam, and Ms. Frommert in grade 8, Katram, that support Ms. Vermeulen, and then of course Ms. Vermeulen and Ms. Boz, right? Ms. Boz is a really important aspect of our kind of community creation in middle school. And then in addition to that, we also have Penny and Eric Quijano, and also Susan Sanders, who works on our learning support department. So we try to have multi-leveled support system for students at that age, because as we said, all kinds of stuff is going on. Okay, Penny, are we able to hear you now? Maybe she went off and come back on. Okay, well, I'm going to look for Penny, and if she gets back on, I'll pop back after her, because I want to ask one more question about the middle school experience. But hopefully that gives everybody a little bit of a frame. And then what I wanted to do for the audience tonight was sort of go into kind of two different aspects, kind of 2.5 different aspects of the middle school experience. One is the curricular things that we do in the academic curriculum. And the other was some of the things that we do in the co-curricular space. And then my half was, what are some of the things that we're doing in the experiential learning space? Because I think that bridges very powerfully between what we traditionally call the co-curricular space and what we call the curricular space. So let's start with curricular stuff. And I think as we look at our curriculum, one of the first things that we're looking at is, for students of that age, we want it to be relevant, right? We want it to be engaging things that are going to be relevant to students of that age, not abstract and distant entities. And so let's kind of talk about what that looks like in real life. And we're going to pop to grade 8 English. So that's going to be our first sort of thing that we focus on. And I'm going to be joined tonight for that segment by Ms. Kim Camo. Kim is a new teacher this year, joined us from an extensive international career that included Kuwait, Eritrea, and some other locations. Spent the pandemic in northeastern Canada, and we were fortunate to be able to hire her. This year, her primary role is in our English as EAL program, helping non-native English speakers kind of bridge to the mainstream English. And she's also got quite a background in executive functioning, which is a key thing that we're trying to teach in middle school years as well. So Kim, you've been a really fantastic addition to the faculty, and it's great to have you with us tonight.
Thank you.
Cool. So this first thing I'm going to talk about in the English curriculum, for many years we've taught the text Night by Elie Wiesel, which is about his experience during the Holocaust. I think it's probably one of the most enduring texts, depictions of that time in history, a time in history that many people are trying to deny, to pretend didn't happen, to devalue. But we keep it in the curriculum because we think it's important that if we don't understand the past, it's going to be hard for us to understand the present. And so we study that text in English. And then yesterday, we took the entire grade 8 international program and French program. They're all integrated in English. There's not a separate French stream and English stream. That's all integrated. And we took all of the students to the Holocaust Museum in Houston. And I know, Kim, you were a chaperone. You don't teach that grade 8 class, but when we put the call out for chaperones, you put your hand up. At the time, I didn't know you actually have a personal connection to this story and this history.
Yes, I do. And I mean, with an English language arts background as well, I mean, I have taught the Holocaust, not this specific novel. I had a great aunt through marriage from Poland. They were captured and sent to Auschwitz when she was 11 years old. And during her time there, she had watched them murder and shoot her 2 brothers in front of her. And at the age of 12, she escaped to St. John, New Brunswick in Canada, where a family had adopted and raised her. And her entire life, she searched for her mom and dad in Poland. And it wasn't until her early 60s, she located them and found out they had been alive this entire time.
Wow.
And she unfortunately missed her dad. He had passed away, but she was able to reunite with her mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful. Yeah. So Talk to us about your experience yesterday on the field trip. Just you as an adult, as a teacher. What was your reaction to going?
I'm well versed with the Holocaust. I've read up lots on it. I've been involved in a lot of stories over the years, and I still don't know everything. And this was, and I felt that the way the Holocaust held the survivors and those and the victims, they did it with such pride and such dignity. And so when you went through the museum, it was a learning experience. It wasn't, it was horrific, mind you, but it was a strong learning experience that kids can really take from today, considering what our world is going through today with the invasion of Ukraine and other parts of the world. So there's still these connections that kids can make so that this doesn't happen again.
I think that's obviously the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit more about the student experience? They didn't have a choice, right? The school made a choice. I guess everybody has a choice about whether they come to school or not in the day, but we felt it was important enough to take everybody. What did you observe in the students while they were experiencing the field trip?
I thought the students handled themselves very well and very mature for their age. They walked through there. They represented Audi very well. They were interested. They were asking questions. There was engagement because we had some docents that were interacting with us and explaining some things. And the students were really eager to ask questions and try to understand and to learn more. They were engaged and they were knowledgeable. They were able to bring things that they've learned from school into the museum to share with the workers as well. So it was quite interesting. I was really proud of them.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for kind of giving us a window into that. And I'm seeing, I think Penny's back with us over there. So I'm gonna, Penny, just kind of coming out of that piece there where, obviously that's not an easy day, right? To go to the Holocaust Museum, it's not easy to engage that material. And I was having a conversation with Mr. Cullinan, who is the longtime organizer of this trip. He couldn't be with us tonight because his son has his final soccer game. A lot of athletics from yesterday got pushed to tonight, which messed our schedule a little bit. But we were talking about, in a lot of ways, I think our adult instinct is to try to protect young people from any kind of challenge, any kind of difficulty. But challenge and difficulty in the right measure are really fundamental, I think, to growing, right? And I think there's a balance in that, right? Do you see that in school and what we're trying to do in middle school?
You're addressing that to Penny, am I correct?
Yeah, it was.
As Kim was talking about how important it is to think about history and atrocities in history so that we're not repeating those atrocities. So it's really not helpful. It's not really protecting kids, right? To shield them or put them in a bubble. The best thing is to give some experiences, to give support during those experiences. So like to have a place to process their feelings about going to the Holocaust Museum and the atrocities that occurred in the Holocaust. And we could look right now, I think of several terrible things that have happened in the news, right? We think about like this shooting during the Lunar New Year. And there was someone that desecrated a temple here in Houston, I think last week, that was in the news. And so it's more helpful to just be there to support kids as they're processing these types of sad events or scary events. That's going to be the best way to equip them to make change. Like another awesome thing when we were talking about the middle years and adolescence, early adolescence, right? So around like 10 to 11 to 13, 14 is really starting to, after knowing oneself, wanting to make a difference for others and a difference in the lives of others. So I think having an experience like going to the Holocaust Museum and then think about what can I do to make a difference? What can I do to bring justice? And I think that's the beautiful part of these really sometimes these really difficult concepts and difficult realities that adolescents are ready to grapple with.
Yeah. Okay. Great to have you back with us. And yeah, we might pop out to you every now and then just to kind of get your perspective on some of this stuff. let's move on now to grade 7 English. We're going to stay with the English curriculum now, and I'm going to welcome to the program Miss Rika Dickens. And Rika joined our school last year, and just hit the ground running on day one, and took on responsibilities over the course of the year. I know she became a certified Google educator over the summer. She's leading our cheerleading group, and by, public acclaim, best squad in a long time, kind of bringing it back out of the pandemic. So, we're really, and also working with our track team. So, kind of impacting students in a lot of different ways. And Rika, I think I want to talk about the current grade 7 English unit, which is around the hero's journey, right?
Yes.
And so when we say when we use the word unit, like this unit of English, we're doing X, what do we mean by unit, right? Like how, we've got our curriculum organized in units. What do we mean by unit?
All right. So with each term, we typically divide the terms into 2 or 3 units based on the novel or a project we're working on. So for example, with 7th grade, we're in term 2. Our term is focused on the hero's journey, but we're currently in the Greek mythology unit. And we just finished up the graphic novel, The Odyssey. And then we're gonna be moving into our next unit for Black History Month.
Awesome. And when you use that language, the hero's journey, I'm thinking about what Penny was saying about people kind of finding themselves and finding their place in the world. What is the classic? I mean, I think there's some kind of archetypes for the hero's journey.
Yes.
What kind of things are we teaching them, or what kind of frameworks are we talking about?
All right. So I love to explain it using a popular movie, The Lion King. So it takes the main character on an adventure. The character will learn a lesson. And through that lesson, of course, they win a victory. And then they're able to come back to their home and save the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're looking at, and that's a pattern we see across cultures, across time. And so we're studying it. And I think, in terms of that relevancy and that connection, we're moving towards, you're helping us organize an event at the end of February where we're bringing in an ensemble theater group to kind of amplify this theme. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so for our Black History Month, our Barbara Jordan unit, the students will focus on a 3-week nonfiction research project. And the students will complete research. They will gather relevant information from multiple print and digital sources. And they will apply their knowledge by creating a newscast talking about Barbara Jordan. So when the ensemble theater actually comes to campus, they will see a play that they put on about her. And they'll also be able to present some information they have learned to the cast from the ensemble theater. And I think it's also important to know, I love that the ensemble theater is coming in February because it's rich with a lot of history. It's one of the oldest and largest Black-owned theaters in our country. So they're really prominent in Houston. They put on a lot of amazing shows. So I'm excited to have them come to campus and present in the new recital hall.
Yeah, it's going to be, that's one of the amazing kind of new possibilities that we have to bring these outside performances and put them in our new performance hall. And just real quick, Rika, because I think anybody that's from Houston would know about Barbara Jordan and why she might be sort of positioned at the end of a unit on heroism, or looking at people that were heroic. Talk a little bit about Barbara Jordan and what what students will learn for those that don't know about her already.
All right, so with our research, we hope that, of course, students will explore the different positions she's held in Houston as well as for the country, and then talk about bills that she was able to pass nationally and locally in Houston.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, thanks for leading that. Thanks for putting that together, and we're looking forward to that ensemble theater visit. February 28th, right at the end of the month, which is of course Black History Month. So that that fits in there as well. Okay, we're gonna stay with literacy. We're gonna stay with literacy, but kind of pivot to a different language. We were talking about English language learning with our first 2 segments, And for grade 6, we're going to pivot, and we're also going to get our first students on the program. I know it's been of a lot of adults talking. So we've got some students that are going to join us here in a sec. But one of the most exciting things that's happening for me in a school where a lot of exciting stuff is happening is the movement of the group that I think self-named group Spanish First from the lower school to the middle school. And by that, I mean, this is a group of students in our international program. And this started out in the lower grades who are doing part of their international program education in English and part of it in science. I'm sorry, in Spanish. And so to talk about that a little bit, I'm going to bring on a couple of our parents, Diana Gaindo and Javi Marin, and welcome them to the program. So Diana, good to see you. And
thank you.
Yeah, great to have you back, and Javi as well. So the Spanish First group, the normal middle school schedule, students take English, science, social studies in the international program. English, science, social studies, math. L2, language number 2, other than English. L3, they take a third language. They take the arts, they take computers, and they have physical education. And the Spanish First group, and so all international students take those courses. The Spanish First group, they take their social studies class and their computer class in Spanish. So same content that the students in the international program are engaging with, same themes, same assessments, just different language of instruction. And then they also take their L2 class at the highest level, at a kind of a heritage speaker level. And next year, we're actually able for grade 6 to add mathematics. So in addition to the group this year of social studies, L2 and computers, next year we're going to be able to add mathematics. And so what that means is that a 6th grade student will be studying in Spanish 46% of the time, which is almost exactly the percentage of time that a French program student would be studying in French. And this kind of world of, I think a lot of people see Audi as, well, it's English and French. But now there's this whole emergent stream of Spanish that's, built up from the lower grades that's now with us and heading towards the output. And so, Diana, you're in our lead group. You're in the group of parents and students that were the early adopters. What was your motivation? Like, why did you want this to go forward? And what did you want for your daughter?
We love the fact that we're in an international city, but we're also, can you hear me? Yes. We know how important Spanish is in our part of the world. And in general, Spanish is one of the dominant languages. But more than that, having the immersion program is beyond language. It opens a door to culture, to a history. And for our kids, it's even become part of their identity because they went through all of their lower school years, 1st through 5th, in full immersion Spanish. And it was just extraordinary to see, especially children that don't have Spanish at home, how fluid they were between the languages, moving back and forth. And when I only speak to my daughter in Spanish, and when she's home and her friends come over, they know to speak to us in Spanish as well. So it's just been an incredibly powerful experience. And every year has been a growing year. We've been literally pioneering this each year as we go. And we're incredibly thankful to Audi for being so courageous and trying something so new. But I think I can speak for all the parents that we have just really been amazed at what our kids have been capable of given in the Spanish resources that Audi has offered.
Well, thanks. And I use, in working with the group and working with the parents, I use the word partnership. I mean, I think we're in a partnership to begin with, right? I think parents and school are in a very powerful partnership to support our young people, but and that for sure rings true in this realm as well, kind of the dialogue and really understanding and to some extent being pushed, right? That, hey, this is possible and this is desired has been a learning for me. Diana, when you look at your daughter, let's take Audi students out of it, but when you kind of look at her against other young people of her age, are there elements of that multilingual experience that she has that differentiate her from others, from other people her age? You know, do you see things that she's getting that might not have been there in a monolithic approach?
I think she's a lot more adaptable. I think she's more resilient. I think she's more comfortable being with different groups of people. And for me, the ultimate test is that when we go home to Bolivia for the summers, and she just drops right in, and nobody knows that she doesn't spend her life in Spanish. So it's been literally, again, the best word I can say is the fluidity of moving back and forth between the languages and the culture. I can't overemphasize enough how important that is. It's not just the language, but it really opens them to a different way of thinking and a different way of seeing the world. It's really been very amazing to watch, and her ability to read in both languages. And I know we've pushed a lot to make sure that they keep. It's been a challenge bridging between lower school and middle school, but like you said, I think with lessons learned, and it's just going to keep getting better and better. But the opportunity for them to continue to be reading and have that full immersion is just really extraordinary.
And we're committed to keeping it going. Javi, I'm kind of looking at you, and while Diana was talking, I saw you smile, because what she was saying must have been music to your ears, because I think you were around in the school when the genesis of this kind of effort started. Yeah. Do you want to? And you're also a parent of a student in the program, and we're going to have her on here in a sec. But yeah, take us back to that time and how the origin started way back when. What year was it, and what was going on?
Sure. I think to put it into perspective, we recently did the grand opening of the building, and people look at how magnificent it is, but they don't see the planning and the work behind that. So in the same way, we see these kids, how far they have gotten, but we don't see how everything has started off. So I'm really going to try to summarize this. But very little after Lisa Darling arrived to Audi, the board came with 3 goals that they were very, very specific and very ambitious. Be more one school, be more immersed, and be more bilingual. The school got to work and figured out how we could do that. And even all of the faculty and staff visited different schools locally, nationally, and internationally to figure out how to best integrate these 3 goals. And so in 2016, I applied to become the language director. And one of my proposals was, hey, why don't we extend the model of the 50-50 that we have in pre-K3, pre-K4, and kinder beyond that in first grade and beyond. And so it was really Stanway who nailed it down and created the 60-40 model. And that was the very first class that we had with Tita Cubria on the first grade with the brand new Early Learning Center. And it was a great start. Tita did a great job. Then Nuria followed on second. We have Teresa on third grade. Then Angela on fourth grade, and then again, Nuria on the 5th grade. And as I was watching the graduation and seeing students giving speeches in English and perfect Spanish, we were all amazed at how far they have gotten. And now they're here in 6th grade and they're doing great. And we're so proud of that class, you know, and all the work that went behind it.
Yeah. It's been the effort of many people, and I'm glad you mentioned Lisa. You know, there's many things that we're going to celebrate Lisa Darling for at the end of this school year when she retires. But you're absolutely right in that, you know, from day one, that was part of her vision, right? You know, and always behind the scenes saying, hey, move that forward. This has to happen for us to become the school that we want to become. I think we've got some students that can hop on now as well. So with Mr. Marin, I think we have Iselle Marin. Iselle, are you here? Are you there? Come on in. There she is. Okay. And then I think, and then we've got, Sophia Lindsay. Good to see you. So fantastic to have you on CampFire. So you guys are real live Spanish first students. And so what I'd like to ask each of you, and I'll have you go first, Iselle. And then Sophia, you can answer behind, and we can get the cat in there too, Javi. Iselle, what, you know, I don't know if you had a choice or not, whether you were going to be in the program, but what's your motivation? What is it that makes you want to be in the Spanish First program and to take those classes and to add that extra layer of maybe complexity to your education? What's your motivation?
Well, honestly, we didn't like choose to be in it because at the time we were really too young to understand that they were making a whole new curriculum for us. All we knew is that we were the first Spanish class, and um, I c- I can't really say what was our motivation, but I can say hearing the names of like the first teachers teaching the first Spanish class in those grades was really nostalgic because it's what my class lived through lower school.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Sophia, I know that Izel's been all the way through. When did you join the Spanish first group?
I was actually with Isel from the very beginning. So I was here since pre-K 3, and then in first grade, I went to the Spanish section, and I've been doing it ever since.
Okay, awesome. And what keeps you going? What motivates you about being in the class? You know, it's obviously, you know, has its challenges.
Well, it can be hard sometimes, but you know, I have a lot of my like younger childhood friends from there in that class, and just getting better at Spanish and knowing that like I'm evolving like every second. It helps a lot with the motivation, and it just like every second I just know I'm getting better at Spanish, so that's like helps a lot with the motivation.
And what do you see, you know, down the road? What do you see this capacity in Spanish, this fluency in Spanish? What opportunities do you see that opening up for you in your life? You know, when you look ahead, when you project ahead.
Well, I think like when you get in, I'm not sure, but you know, when you get a job or like if your job requires you to move to like Spain or Mexico, you know, you'll always be able to speak their language. And Mexico is spoken like all over the world. So it does help a lot to know it, to you know, and be fluent. And I think just I think always knowing like a second language just helps a lot. Because
Awesome.
you know, like you can make references. So.
Yeah, with that connection and connecting with people and that flexibility. And Izel, how about you? How does it benefit your life now or in the future?
Well, it's always like I think in my part, it's always going to be kind of impressive that you're bilingual because like a lot of people don't have that privilege, and also our I didn't really realize this until like late fifth grade, that we kind of paved the way for the Spanish classes behind us that in lower school that are studying Spanish and are gonna have the ability of speaking both Spanish and English like us.
Okay, good. And I'm gonna put you on the spot, and Sophia, you can add to this. But so Izel, Mr. Long and I were just in a meeting with the students that are in the current grade 5 group, and we were explaining the program and kind of the options and kind of our purpose and what we were trying to do. And now it's for those students to decide. You know, in Spanish, can you give a quick can you give your explanation of, you know, kind of why they should do the program? What is it about the program? Why should they do the program? And can you do it in Spanish?
Like in Spanish?
Yes, do it in Spanish. Yeah.
El currículum de español es una aventura muy mágica. Las maestras pueden enseñar nuevas experiencias porque probablemente no son de donde estás tú, y puedes aprender un lenguaje completamente nuevo y no tienes que estar lanzado en solo un periodo de estudiar donde no puedes poner mucha atención, pero en vez vas a estar allí en tu propio mundo de como español y será único porque ustedes son uno de los pocos que están entrando a la aventura esta de español y es algo que tener.
Y Sofía, ¿qué piensas tú? Que lo mismo.
Sí, es una aventura muy magical y con todas las maestras a lo mejor no, como dijo Isel, a lo mejor no son de donde estás tú. Entonces, puedes como aprender un lenguaje. Puedes aprender cómo ellos hablan el español porque hay muchas diferentes maneras y es muy divertido y es una aventura y para las personas en el fifth grade, creo que cuando entras al middle school es como una aventura porque ya sabes cómo es, como no solo es una clase de español, te sientas y luego como hablas español, haces gramática, pero hay diferentes clases en español, entonces ayuda mucho.
Okay, perfecto. All right. Well, gracias. I think, you know, for our viewers, I think you kind of get a sense of the fluency and the ability back and forth and the adaptability of our students. And that's the capacity we're building. And that's the opportunity that we're going to grow. So Diana and Javi, Isel and Sophia and Carolina in the background, thanks for joining the program and giving us a little window into the Spanish First program. Gracias, eh?
Gracias. Adiós.
Okay. All right. Perfecto. All right. So we talked about some curricular stuff, and now we're going to bridge towards the co-curricular space, and would like to bring on the program at this time our Director of Experiential Learning, Miss Christy Chigamalu, and also to kind of help us in this segment, Miss Crystal Frommert, our grade level dean for grade 8. So Christy, welcome to the program. Great to see you out there. And Audi Connects, which I think is I think experiential learning, and you're our Director of Experiential Learning, that can happen any day, anytime. And we hope that it happens every day, all the time. But there are certain things that we do that we're really pushing that, kind of our signature experiences. And I think the Audi Connects week is one. And so I wanted to have you talk with us first. We'll do a little big picture stuff and then go into kind of what do we do at grade 6? What do we do at grade 7? What do we do at grade 8? But at the big picture level, what's the purpose of experiential learning and something like Audi Connects week?
Well, our goal for Audi Connects week is to get our students outside of their comfort zone and to have them learning in a new way that they're not used to, along with allowing them to make new connections to people in our world and stronger connections to their classmates and their teachers. And then finally, to develop a little bit of independence and leadership along the way. So those are some big goals. But when you take a student on a journey, like to Washington, D.C. for the first time without their parents, you see some major learning happening.
Yeah, you're kind of taking me to my next question. We've I think this is our fourth year of doing it. I guess depends on how actually we did it through the only year was the hardcore pandemic year when everything went virtual in 2020, but all the other, in the following year, even when we were in the cohorts, we did it locally, and then we pushed out last year within the continental United States. Actually, not the continental United States. We were in Alaska at one end and Puerto Rico at the other end. So we got as far as we could in the U.S. And then this year we've got it back overseas. What are some of the normal challenges that you see students encountering on these kind of trips?
That's a good question. I guess we do have students who get homesick, of course. They're used to a certain amount of comfort. And I'll speak from my experience because the one that I have the most experience with is the Belize trip. I have been on the Big Bend trip. But watching students go for a week or 10 days without their cell phone, at first, I think the students are a little bit scared and they think it's going to be this huge challenge. And then almost every time when we get back to the airport and we're like, okay, you get your phones back, a lot of them are like, I don't want it, which is always really surprising to us because I think it's nice for them to be electronic free for a little while. But I think that is a fear that students have going into the programs.
Yeah. And I think some parents too, because I think they're used to being able to instantly, I mean, all technology has good and bad, I think, and but certainly one of the conveniences of mobile phones, cell phones, is that instant communication, but it comes at a cost. And so that's why we try to put it away, to be able to be more in the moment, more in the group. But we do have all kinds of safety, I think that primary driver is safety and connection. We have all kinds of safety routines built into the trips. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So when we first decided to go out in 2019, we had the World Leadership School come and train us. One of the routines that we do every time we're going to go out for the day is called AMP, Analyze, Manage, and Prepare. And again, going back to the develop independence and leadership, we have the students actually do that. So the students go through, hey, okay, we're going to go snorkeling today. How do we analyze what risks are there? How do we manage and how do we prepare for that? So everything that we're doing when we're out in the field, we AMP, which is Analyze, Manage, and Prepare. Our faculty, of course, have been trained by World Leadership School, and then we had envoys come in this year. Other safety measures are just the companies we use. We always work with pretty reputable, well-vetted organizations. We use Magnus Health, of course. So if you're a parent out there, make sure that Magnus Health is updated because we do use it constantly. It is an app on every faculty member's phone that they are checking dietary restrictions, swimming ability, anything, allergies. I'm trying to think what else.
I think that's a lot. And just
okay.
Just for clarity, the info that's available on the Magnus app is just what's particular to the trip. It's not all of everybody's personal and medical information, but we extract the pieces that we need for the trip. And then the other thing is, as you know, you're the organizer of this, so you're constantly in contact with all the trips. And then each trip, I think, is doing a daily blog as well, which is allowing, do you want to talk about that and how that allows parents to kind of plug into the experience?
Yeah, this year we're going to try Google Sites instead of Weebly. But again, we want our blogs to be student written by the student leaders of each day. The students will get together and they'll summarize their day in a nice way. They'll write it in the notes portion, and then we'll add pictures. And each day, hopefully, we'll be able to upload pictures and what happened that day. Sometimes if we are in remote areas of Cambodia or Belize, we may have to wait and upload the blog, a couple days worth of blogs a couple days later. So don't panic, parents, if they are in a remote area. What we can do is those of us who are back at Audi on the ground will be in constant communication with them so they can call us and just let us know, and we can even put it on there. But if they're in like Washington, D.C., they should have no problem. And on the middle school trips, Washington, D.C., there will be 8 groups. And Big Bend, I think there's 12 groups. We're hoping to get a blog from every single group every single day. So that's a lot of information for parents. Nice.
And then if something really serious were to happen, we have what we call mission control back here at campus. And so I'm involved with that. Murph, our CFO, if we have students overseas, the folks that help us with visas and all kinds of stuff. So we've got a crew of people standing by 24/7 to be able to respond to, if we were to, in the unlikely event, because I think the vast majority of experiences in the world are safe and wonderful, but, sometimes things happen, but we've got that layer as well. Let's go real quick, right? Real quick through, we've got this progression 6, 7, and 8. So Christy, what happens in grade 6? What's the theme and how is it organized for our grade 6 students?
So this year, if you are a 6th grade parent, you might be wondering, oh my gosh, where is the information? We have decided not to go overnight. We will be doing day trips. They will be quite similar to last year. This year, a couple of things that we're adding are a cooking class for the 6th graders and a little bit more service. So they're going to go to the Houston Food Bank. They already have that booked. So we will have a day of science. We will have a day of art. The pottery last year at Mad Hatter Pottery was really popular. We're going to repeat that. We will continue to do the biking along the bayou with the cistern. We will be trying to email out 6th grade parents a more complete itinerary and schedule before the February break. We will try and get a Schoology group up and running before that February break. And then for all the permission slips and waivers for 6th graders, I think because they're just day trips, we will be putting everything in Blackbaud. So we'll try and make it as easy as possible for parents to just go on and electronically sign.
Perfect. Yeah. So grade 6 focused on this amazing city that we live in and making sure that our students get out into it. And we're going to bring in Ms. Frommert at this point. Grade 7, they go to DC. And this is a program that we've been doing for a long time. And I know that you've been on the program a number of times. Crystal, talk to us about grade 7 trip to DC. What's going on with that?
Hi, as you mentioned, I'm the grade level coordinator for grade 8. And so I'm really excited to meet my future 8th graders on this trip because they'll be in 8th grade next year. And I love going on the DC trip. It's really great. They stay in a very nice hotel. They get to see the city. We're going to go out to Mount Vernon. It's a great bonding experience for the kids. I know sometimes the parents are a little bit nervous because their kids are spending the night away, a few nights away. But I am a former middle school parent as well, and I went through the same thing. So parents, you're going to be okay, and your kids are going to be okay. And I will reiterate what Tom said, that not having their cell phone is actually pretty good for them for a while.
Yeah, I think
and make sure your waivers get in by February 6th. Just a little plug there.
Beautiful. Outstanding. Yeah, and I think some parents are lucky enough where all their students are on an overnight trip, and then they can do stuff like date night and other, there could be some opportunity in there. And then Christy, back to you. And so, 6th grade around Houston, 7th grade to DC, US Capitol, 8th grade out to West Texas and Big Bend.
Yes, it's one of my favorite trips. It's Audie's longest standing trip. It was the first big tradition that Audie ever had. It's an amazing trip. And this year they do get to go back to Big Bend. Big Bend had some restrictions because of COVID, so they had to go to Palo Duro last year. But this year they are back in Big Bend. It's a camping trip. The students get a duffel bag from Miss Glidewell, and they have to bring everything that they're going to have for that week in that bag. It is an amazing trip, and it's just great to see the students when they pull up in the bus at the end of that week. Yeah, a couple of plugs. They are going to have a tent practicing night, I think it's called, I think it's Tuesday, February 7th. So just if you're an 8th grade parent, know that your child is going to need to stay after school to work on learning how to build their tent. Everything that you need for Washington, D.C. and Big Bend are on the Schoology pages. If you need the code to join those Schoology pages, you can always email me, kchitamolu@audi.org, or maybe we can put them in the chat. And yeah, get those waivers in. The 8th grade Big Bend waivers and the 7th grade DC waivers have all gone out. If your child has medicine, you need to drop it off at the clinic in a Ziploc bag with their name clearly labeled. Miss Cruz from our clinic will be on the 7th grade trip, and then we will have hired nurses on the 8th grade trip.
Awesome. Okay. So hope that gives everybody that's new to it an overview, and for the specific grades, much more to come. But it's a really exciting part of what we do. And we're going to kind of keep going in that co-curricular space and keep Ms. Frommert on the call here because Ms. Frommert is the sponsor of our middle school math club, which is quite an institution. I know that Big Bend is the oldest tradition. Middle school math club, it's right in there, right? It was already well established when I got here in 2018. And Ms. Frommert, tell us about Middle School Math Club. What is it, and how did you get it started?
Middle School Math Club is the place to be on Friday afternoons after school. We have met on Fridays. It has been historically one of the most popular days of the week because kids usually don't have a lot of sports commitments or after school commitments on Friday. And middle school parents really enjoy missing the carpool line on Fridays. So we go from 4 to 4:30. We work on math Olympiad questions. I won't go too much into what we do because we have some really fabulous students here that are going to talk about what we do in Math Club. But it is one of my favorite parts of the week because we have kids from 6th to 8th grade, all different levels of math. We have kids who, you know, have historically done quite well with math, and some struggle from time to time, which is perfectly okay too, because we're all mathematicians. We're all there to learn. We're there to support each other. It's welcome. Everyone from 6th to 8th grade is welcome. And I'm going to let Juliet come on and talk about her experience with Math Club, and then we'll have 2 current Math Clubbers after her.
Hi, so I'm in 11th grade, but I was in the Math Club from 6th to 8th grade. And I initially joined just because I really liked math, but then I started to really like it because I met a lot of new people, and it was really nice to be challenged in math, like outside of the classroom. And also Math Club really helped me because from 6th to 7th grade, I transferred from the French to the international section. So having been like already introduced to math problems in English, and also like math terms in English, and also just like talking and solving problems with people from the international section allowed me to learn things that maybe I hadn't learned in the French section. So now I'm in the Math Club in high school, the Mu Alpha Theta Club, which is basically the Math Honor Society. And I come in on Fridays and I help out with the middle school math club. I volunteer and just help the students solve problems.
Awesome. And you've got the French and the English, right? So you can help in both ways. That's fantastic. It's awesome to have that verticality, we call it, right? When the older students are working with the younger students. And I think we've got a couple of the current math clubbers in the middle school. Joanne and Sahana, I think you're on now. Welcome to the program. And Ms. Frommer, take it away with them. Yeah, what were you going to ask them?
Yeah, so this is Sahana and Jovan. They're brother and sister, and they are 2 of our many math clubbers. They are in grade 7, and they're loyal to our club. They're coming every single Friday. And in fact, I know what Jovan's favorite kinds of cookies are, so I make sure to provide those, because that is another tradition of Math Club, is you can't do math without cookies, right? So we have cookies and we have juice pouches. So I'll let Jovan and Sahana tell you a little bit about what they like about Math Club.
Yeah, so in Math Club, we do like math Olympiad questions. And I really like doing math with my friends. So.
Talk about that a little bit. What is it about doing math with your friends that you like versus doing it by yourself?
I guess like if you don't understand a question, you can solve it with your friends, and then they might understand it better. So then you learn something else.
Nice. Okay.
Like what she said, it's also fun to compare with your friends about and it's fun to see the different ways in which people solve different problems. The solutions can be very unique to each person.
Cool. And is there a particular thing that you're working on now, or a particular aspect of mathematics that you're interested in? Is there, some particular idea or some type of problem? And Juliet, you could hop in on that one as well. Just what are you really interested in terms of math?
Well, I want to learn more quadratics. I don't really know that many quadratic equations, so I want to try to learn more about that.
That's a good thing to learn about, because that doesn't go away for a while. Sahana, how about you? Is there some specific thing that you are interested in?
I kind of like using exponents to like adding exponents, multiplying exponents.
Cool. And Juliet, how about you? You're up there in IB math now. What in the math world has you particularly interested in now, or challenged?
Now, okay, that's I guess like combinations. Yeah. But I think it's interesting because the middle schoolers, they haven't learned certain concepts, but sometimes there's problems for us, like a certain thing that we've learned, but they haven't learned that specific technique yet. So it's funny to see how like they're able to solve it still because they're great problem solvers. But just kind of like figuring it out, you know?
Yeah. And I think you touched on something that's to be really important about it is sometimes I think people can be intimidated by math, or math is very serious, but it's a subject where you learn to solve problems, right? And learn to think in ways that can solve problems. And I'm sure that's part of it.
Yeah, and I'll also mention here that Juliet works along with William and Raymond, 2 other math club alums, and they write questions. And they differentiate for our kids too, because they are such great helpers. They know which kids need a challenge, which kids maybe need a little bit more basics that week, and they write some really fabulous questions. Because they are taking high level math in high school, sometimes I have to tell them to pump the brakes a little bit on those questions. But they are fabulous helpers and really provide a great service and support for our middle schoolers. So I'm so grateful for them.
Yeah. So I love middle school math club. I just think it's so cool that it happens on Friday afternoon when, the rest of the world's running away from school and getting to the weekend, and our folks are just kind of settling down to have that cooperative vertical learning. So fantastic job. Ms. Frommer, there's another idea bubbling around. It's not fully formed, but I think we can tease it out, just because I think people might be interested. We've also started to think a little bit about Saturday, and some possibilities there.
Yeah, there's some ideas that are floating around about maybe starting a competition league. Right now, our math club does not compete. We are there purely for the fun and beauty of mathematics. And I know I have some kids at Audi in the middle school who really do want to get a little more serious with competition level. And so I'm thinking about having a Saturday morning session throughout the year, because Math Olympiad is a year-round contest. And I'm thinking about doing that. If that does come to fruition, you'll see information about that in Audi Notes. And right now that's in the works. So I think that's very exciting. That might be coming.
Yeah, me too. I think we can make that happen. And then one last thing for you. In addition to all this, you've got a book contract and a book coming out, right? And so tell our audience about that. Yeah, what's going on with that?
I do. But most of the people on this call are not the audience for the book. The audience for the book are teachers. I wrote a book that is primarily for pre-service or beginner teachers on how to establish great relationships and communication with parents. Because that is, what we're doing right now. This is what we're doing. We are establishing a communication with families and a partnership. And that is the purpose of my book that should be coming out maybe later in 2023. That is geared toward helping teachers to foster that in their own classrooms.
Yeah. Well, we're super proud of you and can't wait for the book to come out. We're going to have a big launch party and a signing and all that kind of stuff.
Thanks. Okay.
Thanks for that. So
thank you.
Thanks to our students that came on. Thanks for giving us a window into middle school math. And Ms. Frommer, thanks for what you do to make that possible.
Thank you.
Another thing that's happening in our co-curricular space is, and I'm going to focus on the French program here. We're taking a trip to Chicago in March to participate in an intra-school tournament. And the teacher that's leading that is been just an amazing addition to Audi this year. Nicolas Coulerier came to us from Shanghai and has been working in the PE department as a coach. And Nicolas, I think this was your idea, your push to do this. Tell us about this tournament that our students are going to go to in March.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, so we have the great opportunity to participate in a basketball tournament in Chicago this year. So it is hosted by the French School of Chicago from March 12 to 16. And we are really excited because this is the first time the school will participate in this kind of event. Within the AEFE network. So the AEFE is the French, the organization that gather all the French schools abroad. So we are in the League of the North American, that include US and Canada, so around 50 schools, all right? And for this tournament, so that's the second slide, 12 schools have registered. So you will find the list on this slide. So many schools of US and I guess 2 or 3 of Canada. So they all have registered for boys and girls, and some of them maybe for 2 teams for boys and 2 teams for girls. So we should have a tournament with 16 teams. So it will be really intense. On the next slide, you can see that we insist on the fact that beyond on the performance and the sports results, this competition has several educational objectives too. So we put forward human and cultural values like commitment, responsibility. That's really important for us. And having live and organized this kind of event in Asia, in my previous position, I know that there are strong moments and that the student leaves them excellent memories. So that's really important for us. On the next one, that's a provisional schedule of the week. So we land on Sunday and leave on Thursday. That means that we have 3 full days on site with competition every day and half day allocated to the visit of the city. We can also note that's really, really nice that the final of the tournament will take place on the floor of the Chicago Bulls just before the game of the professional team. So it will be really, really, really nice. So that's on a Wednesday evening. All right, on the next slide, just some picture of the facilities. So we can see here the school gym, the sports complex, the hotel, etc. So just to give you a picture of that. And to finish, just to tell that we have the list of the 18 players selected. So we have been allowed by the organizer to select 9 players for 9 girls and 9 boys. So we are really proud of them, and we trust them that they will represent OT in the best possible way. Yeah. So they will be chaperoned and coached by 3 coaches. So Justin Puente, Vanessa Salinas, and myself. Go Rams!
Okay, yeah, go Rams. So pretty exciting, and what an amazing if our team could make it to the final and play the game on the Chicago Bulls floor in front of the crowd for the game that night. I mean, as far as basketball, in the U.S., it's hard to get better than Chicago and Michael Jordan, right? That's about as high as you can get. Maybe till this new young French guy comes into the league, and then we see where it goes. But anyway, Nicholas, thanks for putting the trip together, making this possible for our French families, and we're really excited to see how it all goes. All right. Yeah. Bonsoir. All right, and let's keep on the sports theme and welcome to the program Mr. Justin Puente, our assistant athletic director, JP as we call him. And JP, we wanted you to we've had a really amazing winter sports season in middle school, and we wanted to get a quick kind of wrap, I think a lot of the seasons are wrapping up. Some of them are, wrapping up tonight, I think, but how have we done? Take us through some of the middle school accomplishments in this year's athletic department.
Well, I think the biggest accomplishment for us this year has been the growth in our numbers from grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's just been a tremendous influx for us. I think what the pandemic has taught us is we're able to adapt, but at the same time, athletic participation and competition was very much needed. And I could tell that the middle school athletes, along with upper school athletes, are ready to get back into action. So both of our middle school girls and boys basketball teams had great showings this year. The 6th grade groups for both genders really competed well, along with the 7th grade. And then our 8th grade teams missed competition for HJPC by a couple points, but still made significant strides from last year. And then for our middle school girls and boys soccer, our girls did lose tonight in the semifinals for HJPC, but our boys will be playing in the championship game tomorrow at 4:15. So we're looking forward to that. That's just another step in the right direction for us as far as, spreading that Audi brand and getting that championship vibe, which will obviously transfer into the upper school. So, and then our middle school swimming had their HJPC meet tonight. I'm trying to get some results, but I was unable to get some. But I know that we had a lot of kids that were going to be competing as well and representing Audi at the highest level.
Okay. So, yeah, you see that strength in the program, the numbers and the, kind of just the interest in athletics, and it's kind of pushing up from the bottom. And that's exciting for our varsity teams as well, to have all that talent and all that experience moving through the pipeline. So thanks for that. Thanks for giving us that look into that. We're going to come back to you in a minute or two and talk about the girls varsity basketball team. But before we do, let's take a short kind of content shift, and want to bring on Abhishek Moshanin, who is one of our co-chairs of the Iran country group, which is the honor country for this year's international festival. So probably International Festival might rival Big Ben for longest tradition at Audi, because it's something that's been going on for a long time. We've had to curtail some of the traditional aspects the last few years due to the pandemic, but we're bringing it all back this year. And the group from Iran has just been amazing to work with. And so, Abhishek, we wanted to welcome you back to the program tonight and to talk about a couple of the things that are upcoming in the series of things that we're doing to get ready for the International Festival in April. I think the first one is the Celebrating Audi event that's tomorrow night, actually. Yeah,
that's right. Hi, good night, everyone. Yes, I hope many of you have purchased your very cheap tickets for what's going to be a feast of Iranian food from one of our favorite restaurants in town. That happens tomorrow. I think the reservation is, the link for the ticket purchases is not active anymore, but feel free to ask around. Some people might have cancellations, and you can just use their name. It's an RSVP list. You can just use other people's names who are not showing up and hopefully join us. I believe there's about above 200 people joining. It will be in the new cafeteria tomorrow night from 6:30 to 9. There will be Iranian food, music, both a DJ and a traditional music band, and a lot of artifacts of all sorts for viewing and checking out, and books and carpets and things like that. There's a Persian carpet loom that's on the second floor where the library is now open, the new library that's open for visitation. We encourage students to go, parents, whenever they're on campus, to go check it out. There's a barcode and a QR code and an explanation next to it on what it is. There is, I'm going to share some links. There's the 30th International Film Festival of Films from Iran is in progress right now. It started last week after a gala at the Museum of Fine Arts, where they host a film festival and they actually curated. We will have a couple of films coming up in the next month or so. The MFH, Museum of Fine Arts in Houston, has very graciously and kindly given Audi students, Audi students and parents, an Audi night. They're calling it the Audi night at the MFH for the film fest. They chose a film that's very suitable for pretty much all ages, who can sit through a film with subtitles for 90 minutes. It's called The Runner. It's an older classic film that won awards. It's a story of a 11-year-old orphan in a port city when it struggles for its life, and it has a lot of coming of age and interesting hardship moments to it, with beautiful filming and cinematography. The museum has offered discounted tickets. I can share links, right, on the YouTube link?
I think, yeah, you can post them into the stream if you want.
Here. Right. So if you go to the movies, it's called The Runner, or Davande in Farsi, the movies page in the MFH page, you'll see the steps to take to get the discounted $6 ticket. They have a huge theater, so there's no worry of the space to run out. And it's on a Saturday at 3 p.m., this coming Saturday, the 28th. So feel free to check that out. I just dropped a link in the YouTube channel, and the movie, again, it's The Runner, this Saturday at 3 p.m. The next thing we're excited about is we're going back to the studio visits that we held late last year for one of the local Iranian American artists, who was very well exhibited and collected around the city and at museums in Texas and elsewhere, Miss Fariba Abedin. We have arranged with her to have additional studio visit. She's in the Sawyer Yards, the artist warehouse district area. Has a beautiful large art studio. So that's also an event that can be done with parents. With the upcoming dates are February Saturday, February 4th, March 4th, and April 1st. So there's 3 upcoming ones. We have links for sign up on the ACC sign up list. That's one way to do it. And, you know, I think Mr. Oden, I don't know if you're open for people to RSVP to you or not. That's another way of doing it. But the ACC emails, if you're on them, you could very easily do that there as well. I just shared that link on YouTube as well. I think the last group that visited her studio really enjoyed it. She will be actually at the school tomorrow night. For those of you who are there, feel free to find her and discuss with her her practice. It's based on Islamic Persian architecture, and she brings it into a very modern realization of that. We're also excited about another art event we brought last year again through one of the art teachers in the upper school, another local Iranian American artist, Farima Fouladi. She's going to come back to a presentation that involves, she brings some of her work, but it's like an artist talk with a video presentation. She will do that again. We will share it with, it would be, I think Miss Maxwell has a way that many classrooms could join in the upper school. So look out for that information. Lastly, and there's more events coming up that you'll hear about it. Check out your Audi notes. We share them very regularly. In February, we will also celebrate Black History Month and introduce the Afro-Iranian culture through a couple of photo exhibits in the new library. And also we will show a video rendition of a puppet show based on one of the Shahnameh stories, the Book of Kings by Ferdowsi. Again, it would be probably middle school, upper school. We have to find the date for that, but that's another kind of artsy event. And then later on, we'll have more things in March and April, leading to the 25th and 26th, which is the actual festival and the opening. And there will be dancing and music and other presentations at that time, as well as the booth.
Yeah.
And food again, and gifts, the usual. And we hope the Parade of Nation happens. I understand there's a need for somebody to run that. So it would be great if anybody on this feed would like to help.
It's going to happen.
Okay.
We're going to do it. Yeah. So
I think that's not to run through too many things. This is the gist of everything.
Yeah. This is sort of the next.
In the very near future, right.
Yeah, this is the next wave of things. And I think one of the things that's amazing about you guys, you're so wired into the arts community here in Houston. It's generating all these amazing opportunities for our parents and our students. And Avishay mentioned at the very end there, when we get to the actual international festival, one of the traditions is to have country booths, right? So, right now we have country booth, kind of country booths with leaders for Algeria, Canada, China, India, Iran, of course, Israel, Lebanon, Mexico, Palestine, Peru, Romania, South Korea, United Kingdom, and Vietnam. So if your family is connected to any of those countries, you guys have a booth and, kind of a lead parent for the booth. And we can connect you with that if you're interested. We don't have, and we got to get this, we don't have yet booths for the United States or for France. So if someone is out in the audience and interested in taking on a leadership role, you'll get a lot of support from the school. We would love to hear from you, and you can connect with Kim King, K-King, K-I-N-G at Audi.org, and we'll get you signed up. And, our hope is that every country that was represented in the school would have a booth and a place where they could share their culture. So Avishay, thanks for being with us.
One more thing. Sorry, Tom. I understand there's always a theme for the International Fest. So this year's theme will be prominent women. So we encourage everybody who does have a booth to, in advance, plan to introduce and do something about the prominent women. It's not defined. Let's keep it general so everybody can be creative and do how they want to deal with that theme.
Okay. Love that. Okay. Always great to see you. Really appreciate the work that you and your group is doing to lead this event, and really excited for our community for the things that, you know, starting with tomorrow night and all the things you mentioned. So great to see you. And we'll have you back in February to talk about the next batch of things. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. And then real quick, because I know we're taking time, there's a lot to talk about in the middle school. Tomorrow at 4:30, we have the first performance of Dracula, and that's our upper school play, directed by Mr. Bauman, and it will be upstairs in the new performance hall. So there are performances tomorrow at 4:30, Thursday at 4:30, Friday at 7 p.m., and Saturday there's a matinee at 2 p.m. and a closing performance at 7 p.m. Going to be an amazing show. Tickets are $5, and there'll be information and audio notes. You can get them at the door, but really would encourage folks to see Dracula. It's going to be quite a show, and Mr. Bauman is just a gift for our community, and he has done amazing work because he's had to kind of flex with all the construction delays and moving into a new space, and he's still going to be ready to go. So really excited for Dracula tomorrow. All right, and let's turn the page and kind of get into our last segment of the program. And we're going to look at, we promised a boys and girls basketball preview. We did soccer back in the previous, or football back in the previous segment. And so to get us going, I think we've got a short 2-minute video that sort of just introduces our winter sports athletes. All right. Well, I tell you what, our athletic department is, you know, they're pushing the frontier on the publicity and the graphics. I love that. I love that little short film, and I want to learn how to do that pointing thing that the students do when they're in the Instagram posts and things like that. Fun to see our basketball players in there, and we're going to start. With boys basketball and our boys varsity basketball coach Justin Jackson. Justin, welcome to the program.
Hey guys,
Good to see you guys. Happy
Sure, we
to
can
be
hear you,
talking about the
Justin.
boys. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Justin, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay, perfect. Well, good afternoon, guys. I'm glad to be on here. It's a little different not seeing people's faces. Can you see me?
Yeah, Mr. Anderson, I'm not hearing Justin though. So let me well, I'll just pitch a question to Justin and just see if we can work it this way. Justin, just as a way of getting started, tell us a little bit about the team this year. Kind of what kind of setup do you have? What kind of you playing zone? You playing man to man? You playing slow? You playing fast? What's this year's version of Audi Rams boys basketball?
We're a young group, still learning how to play together, but it's a fun, energetic group. I think the youth is just still okay. I don't know how. A second. Let me try to. You can hear. Okay. It's good to have the young guys in to kind of help. So we have 50% of our guys are freshmen, 50% are returners. We have one senior, so a lot of it is just getting everybody used to each other, but also playing at a faster pace. So it's fun. It's a fun group. I love it.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Justin. And yeah, I'm having a little problem with the feed with Justin, so I'm going to go to the players, and then maybe Lucas on kind of two boys basketball players, and hopefully this will work better. We've got great.
Did he ask us a good question? I couldn't.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, awesome. Hey, Zach and Freddie, welcome to the program. I'm going to start with you, Zach. Tell us about how you've been at Audi for a while. When did you start playing basketball, and what stands out to you about your basketball journey and your time at Audi?
I started playing in 7th grade, and since I've been here for a while, I've seen how Coach Jackson has just kind of started to grow the program, and I've been happy to be on that journey along the way.
Yeah, and I know you're a tall guy, so everybody's recruiting the tall guys into basketball. What is it that you like about the game, besides being tall and being able to block people's shots and stuff like that?
It's fun to be a part of the team. I think that the environment that our team has is very fun to be a part of, and just being with my teammates, we're allowed to have fun on the court while we're trying to compete as well.
Yeah, from a viewing point of view, it does look like you have a fun group to be part of, right? And I think you've got an interesting mix of older players and younger players. As an older player, do you see part of your role is just sort of mentoring those young people in terms of being at Audi and not just the athletic journey, but the academic and kind of social journey as well?
For sure. I think that, we have a very talented group of young players, but of course, they're still learning the mental part of the game on and off the court. So it's good that they have some guidance to kind of develop their maturity a little bit. Awesome.
And I think that's an important part of the team experience, not just the competitions, but the camaraderie and the mentoring that can happen. Going to bounce over to you, Fred. And for those of the guys that don't know, Freddie's in addition to being one of our basketball captains and one of the leaders of the team, he's also student council vice president and a grade 11 IB student. So lots going on in Fred's world. But I was interested, you guys as a team took a pretty extended trip to Lubbock over the December break, right? And yes, Fred, can you talk to the audience about, what was the trip? What did you guys do while you were up there? And what do you think was important about the trip?
Well, the ride from Audi to Lubbock was about 8 hours. I missed the ride on the way here, but I've heard a lot of stories. It was a great opportunity for team bonding. And once we got there, we all had our own, we all had a buddy for our hotel rooms, but we all ended up in one room like throughout the day while we had time to relax. We were all together. So it was a great opportunity for team bonding, and it showed on the court. We were able to get a couple good wins, but most importantly, we were able to come back with a stronger team. We during school, like we say hello, we sit together at lunch, but the Lubbock tournament just gave the team a bigger opportunity to get to know each other better.
Yeah, and if I understand it right, I think you also had the opportunity. I mean, you were right there on campus, so you were playing on their facilities. I think you also had a chance to meet with some of the coaches and kind of learn about the D1 college experience and things like that. Kind of share some of the other off the court activities that you guys had during that week up there.
Yes, sir. Before our first game, the day before our first game, we were able to go and watch the Texas Tech game. And afterwards, we were able to go talk to the coach that gave us a tour of the practice facilities, the locker rooms, so that we can get a good look at how the players, what the players do, how they do it, and where they do it. Then afterwards, he was able to give us a good heart-to-heart talk about what college coaches look for in players and, most importantly, students. And he was able to tell us that it's all about being a team and it's all about hustle.
Nice. Zach, I think we've got some games coming up. So I know we've got left in the season. I know John Cooper next Friday, because we're going to talk about that in a bit. And then the SPC tournament. What's important to you as we enter in this last phase of the season, and what does the team need to do to kind of reach its goals?
As we're finishing out the season, I think our main goal is to show the city how the program has developed. I think that's what we're trying to do with our last 2 games and at the SPC tournament. And I think what the team needs to accomplish as we reach the end of our season is we need to kind of keep our momentum going forward and try to stay positive as we deal with the tough teams that we're going to oppose.
Yeah, I mean, the basketball competition is tough, right? It's a tough competition. I think maybe one of the all of SPC is tough, but this one in particular. So, but it's meeting that challenge, and I know you guys will. Freddie, maybe just to kind of close out this piece of it, I wasn't able to hear Coach Jackson that well, so I don't know exactly what he said, but one of the things that I want to say on the program is I think he's done an amazing job of building the program and leading the young men. What stands out to you about Coach Jackson and the way that he approaches not just coaching basketball, but coaching life?
Well, Coach Jackson, I've known him since 7th grade, and he's always off the court. He's always coached me off the court, told me what to do to become the man I am today. And this year in particular, going in the games, we've had scouting reports. You asked what defense we run. Our defense is we play man, we'll guard a certain player based on his ability. And the scouting reports Coach Jackson has been doing has really helped us improve from last year.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see that from the stands, right? When you, like I said, you've got some young players and new to the system players. But what I love, and I hope we're going to have a full gym on the 3rd, and I think everybody in there is going to see it. But when you guys are all fast, and you can switch all the positions, and you get after it, and it's a really exciting style of basketball. And so we're going to be there with you and cheering you guys on as you head towards those last bits of your season. So. Appreciate you having on. Coach Jackson, thanks for being with us tonight. Sorry it didn't go exactly perfectly technically, but man, love you and appreciate everything you're doing. And Zach and Freddie, thanks for being on the program.
So thank you, Mr. Oden.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and kind of the other half of the coin is our girls basketball program. And welcome back to the program, our head girls basketball coach, Justin Puente. Justin, welcome back to the program, and really excited to talk to you about Audi girls basketball.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. And just a little quick recap. Our swim team for middle school finished 2nd in HJPC tonight. So good showing for them. Wanted to make sure I shared that with everyone.
Absolutely.
So, great overall night. As Tom says, don't sleep on the Rams. But our girls basketball team has had one of the best starts in Audi school history. We started off 4-0. And then now we're sitting at 9-6, and we're going for a win number 10, which will be the first time in a while that we've reached that double-digit win mark total. And it all starts with these players who are with us tonight. One of our team mottos is get better, and hashtag get respect. Get better is something we brought into the program just to give the kids more of an identity to work towards. And that's through drills, through training, through academics, and also through life. And then this year we adapted the respect part. I think last year we were short of qualifying for SPC, and we felt like we deserved that respect. And I think this year the way they're practicing, we're definitely getting that respect and that camaraderie, and we're starting to become well known around the greater Houston area. So these players put in toughness, discipline, effort, and grit each practice and each game, and I'm really thankful for their efforts, not only on the basketball court but also as students in the academic world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've got 3 of your players on with us tonight: Fiona Charlton and Margaret Watkins and Lucille Gourlay. Fiona, Margaret, Lucille, welcome to CampFire. Thanks for being with us tonight. I know you guys are busy. Great to see you out there. So, so Fiona, let me start with you. I think you've worked with in different capacities Mr. Puente for for a period of time now, and what stands out to you about Mr. Puente as a coach, and as an organizer of a team?
Of course. I mean, I've known Coach Puente since I came to Audi freshman year. And he genuinely is one of the most life-changing coaches I've ever had. And I don't say that lightly. And I think it's a lot due to his ability to listen to his players and also develop each individual's mind and body as well. I think the sport of basketball is unique in the way that it is a lot about being fast and being physically tough. But it is also about being mentally tough as well, and being able to have that mentality where you will continue to dedicate yourself to a sport despite having the challenging academics that we have at Audi.
Yeah, I think that balancing, that's something that, as we know from the niche rankings and all that stuff, right? #1 academics in the state, everybody's either doing the French Bac or the IB diploma, but then you guys are still making the sacrifice to be student athletes, and I think that's really a signature aspect of the Audi program. Margaret, let me go over to you. I heard you're going to my alma mater, Cornell, so congrats on that. Go Big Red.
Thank you.
Mr. Puente was talking about getting better, right? And you guys have, a series of games coming up to close out the year. What's key for the team? What do you guys really have to execute, kind of level up on to really get as far as you can go? What are your priorities there?
Yeah, so we have a few games left this season and then SPC, and I think all of them are very winnable games for our team. I think we just have to really stay focused and stay strong with the end of the season. I know, especially for seniors in the IB right now, a lot of assignments are really crashing down. So we just have to really use our time in practice and focus on staying focused when we're there and learning our plays and being starting with a lot of energy in our games so that we're on from the get-go and ready to just devote ourselves to the end of the season and push really hard and finish strong.
Push really hard for it. Yeah. And Lucille, what is your guys' style of play? What kind of offense do you run, and what kind of defense are people going to see when we pack that gym on February 3rd? There she is. Okay. You still with us, Lucille? I tell you what, I'll come back to you. The marvels of technology, allows us to bring people from all over town, but sometimes there's hurdles to get over. So maybe Justin, back to you. That's a good coach question. When we pack the gym on the 3rd, what are we going to see in terms of offense, and what are we going to see in terms of defense?
Well, first of all, before we jump to February 3rd, we actually host a Shin tomorrow night at 6:30. Our JV team will be playing at 5, and then varsity will follow at 6:30. So, if you can come out on Thursday night and give these girls support they need to get win number 10, that'd be great. We love all support. I would say our offensive identity is a read and react motion offense, to where we really focus on our individual strengths. And I always tell the players a lot, if my assistant coach, Christian Davis, when we're matched up against somebody, he's usually sitting there saying, they don't want none of that. They don't want none of that. Go to work. Go to work. Let's go to work. And so that's usually our key to them, to say, go until they stop you, and then we'll execute the offense if need be. So we like to push the pace faster. This year we have adopted the shot clock in our SBC conference, the first conference in the state of Texas to have a 35-second shot clock. It really hasn't paid much dividends for us on offense because we don't work with it too much, but on defense, we like to run an aggressive man defense along with an aggressive 2-3 zone and 3-2 zone, along with a 1-3-1. And we've really held some teams to some shot clock violations so far this year. So it's been really great. The girls really put forth the effort. Throughout defense, we want to create those jailbreak opportunities, which are fast breaks, because that works with our speed.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot going on that, just even that part, let alone that IB diploma part. That's a lot. That's a lot to think about, all those defenses and offenses. Cool. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get Lucille on. Take one more shot at it. Lucille, can you hear me? You can hear me. Can we hear you? No. Okay. Sorry about that. Well, man, I would love to get you on because wanted to get that perspective, but maybe in a future CampFire. Kind of to close out, Margaret, this last 2 weeks of Audi basketball for you, your next to last sports season, because I know you do them all and are going to be out there in lacrosse as well. What would be your dream for this last 2 weeks? What's important to you?
That's a big question. I mean, I think I've been on this team like all 4 years, and especially like during COVID with the basketball cohort and our 6-person team, like I got really like close and connected with a lot of the people on this team. So really just like getting our 10th win tomorrow would be amazing for the program and the team. And then just continuing that on and like getting hopefully to 12 wins by the time we start the SBC tournament would be amazing. And to just be able to compete with the SBC tournament and have like one last trip with all of my teammates that I've grown really close to, and just spending time with them would be a great way to end my senior season.
Yeah, it sure would. There's no doubt you're going to get those double digits. No doubt. And folks could do a double header tomorrow. You could pick up Dracula at 4:30 and then just pop over to girls hoops right after that. If you had tickets for the Iranian dinner, you could do a triple header. And then Fiona, how about you as you kind of, head towards the end of an incredibly illustrious Audi athletic career? What are you seeing in this last window for basketball? What's front of mind for you?
I mean, I think in general, since being on the team, starting off as a freshman, it's just been such an honor to see the program grow in general. And I think Margaret did hit it straight on the head, that I would love to see double-digit wins. And I would also like a win on our senior night for our celebration. But then again, we do have such an amazing team, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, we're grateful to have you guys as leaders, and Fiona and Margaret and Lucille, thanks for being on the program. Coach Puente, thanks for your leadership. And we're going to go just to our last little piece, which is our middle school student council has got a really exciting activity coming up that's going to put us in a position to support our young women and young men to reach those goals, to reach those double digits, and to really show people what it's all about. So to do this last little piece, and if you've been with us the whole time, I love you. Thanks for being with us. Want to welcome to the program Dee Alexander, who's one of our science teachers and also the sponsor of our middle school student council. So Ms. Alexander, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So real quick, what does Middle School Student Council do? How's it organized, and what's its role in the school?
Okay, well, we this year we have a big group. We have 13 students. Some were appointed by teachers in the French section, and some were elected. So we have quite a big group. We run elections at the beginning of the year. Students campaign and create videos about what they love about Audi, what they want to bring to Audi. We're really focused on community building and fun. That is our two main goals this year.
Beautiful. And so on that theme of community building and fun and maybe a little bit of craziness, we have put together a middle school focused activity for Friday, February 3rd, right? And so that is a huge night of athletics at Audi. So we have boys basketball and girls basketball. We have boys soccer and we have girls soccer. It's senior night for all four of those games. And then there are culminating SPC SPC games before the tournament, and they're all against John Cooper. So, Miss Alexander, let's talk about this middle school event that we have cooked up to try to generate some spirit and community for that evening.
Yeah, we're really excited. The Middle School Student Council is going to run an event that occurs on February 3rd, right before those big games, so we can get you all excited. We're going to have some outdoor activities and some indoor activities in the cafeteria where we will have games, face painting to get you all geared up in gold and green for the game. We're going to have some posters so you can, cheer on your favorite players. And, we're looking for Audi's biggest super fan. Like, you're out there. We know there's the biggest Audi fan out there, and we want to see you get dressed and support Audi and, win a contest for being the Audi super fan that we know one's out there.
Right. So we're going to do, for the 3rd, we're going to do free dress. Middle schoolers are going to have free Audi dress, right? So not free dress, but if you want to wear your Audi wear, your any Audi items, the newspaper, the basketball team, the soccer team, anything like that, or green or gold, middle school students will be able to do that, and we're going to have that spirit contest. And what do the winners of the spirit contest get? We're going to have winners and then runners up. So what do the two winners get?
Well, we're hoping that we're going to have some gift cards for our winners, $50 and $25. We're also going to get the biggest super fan is also going to get free dress for their grade. So,
right.
6, 7, and 8, we want the competition. We want friendly competition going on, just some community spirit, and just bring our fun back after, some long, hard years with COVID and being apart.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it doesn't get any better than free dress for the grade, I think. In terms of your, social status with your peers, if you can get the free dress for the grade, that's a lot. I think we've got one of the student council members on with us tonight. Who's with us?
Mateo is with us from the French section. So he joined us during term 2, and we're just excited to have him here. And I know he's excited to bring this event to us all.
Yeah. So Mateo, what's, kind of, as you look at this event, what stands out to you? What do you think is going to be fun? What do you think is going to be important for the community?
Well, the thing that's going to be fun is that the biggest Ram fan, because I want to see those people who has the biggest Rams, like outfit and like the stuff that they have. And the important thing is like to have fun, like it's something enjoyable. It's not every day. You don't do that every day. It's a special time and a special thing to do.
Yeah. And I know you're an athlete because you were on our championship volleyball team, and I know you're a committed athlete. When you're on the floor and there's a big crowd behind you, that community, that support, what's the feeling for you as the player?
Well, I get scared, because a lot of people, but then I get relaxed because I have my teammates and I have people that I know, and I know like they're gonna support me. So yeah, and the fans, I feel like they're families because like they're supporting me while I'm playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's our vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
School ends at 3:50. The game started 5. So what we're going to do, just to make it easy for the families, is just bridge from that end of school to the game time, right? And so, as Miss Alexander said, we'll have some healthy food for the students, and then they'll have choices and options to kind of get going with the spirit, right? So they can put on the face paint, they can make signs, you know, to support our players, and just start to feel that spirit. And then we'll head over to the soccer field or to the basketball gym. Students will have their choice, but it'll all be inside the Audi envelope. And my goal is that I want these John Cooper folks to feel it, right? To feel the Audi experience, right? To feel the beast. And I'm sure we're going to do that. So I think we're going to have huge crowds, kind of like homecoming level crowds, and it's going to be a great night. So Mateo and Dee, thanks to both of you for your leadership and for student council being able to lead this. And we're really looking forward to an exciting evening on February 3rd and getting our middle school students plugged into supporting our upper school students. Yeah. So
Great. Thank you.
Great to have you. All right. Well, that's been a lot. Okay. That's been a lot of stuff, right? And so we're really at the end. And so just to kind of sum up for us and maybe give a couple of closing words, I wanted to bring on our middle school dean, Laura Vermeulen, who rejoined us this year. She had been at Audi very successfully as a teacher of French literature, left to go to New Orleans and was working there, and then came back to take on this role as middle school dean, and has really hit it out of the park, like really doing an amazing job. And Laura, as you kind of listen to all that stuff that's going on in your division of the school, what comes to mind? You know, like what do you want to share with us about the middle school experience at Audi?
Well, I think, you know, it's obvious that everyone's working towards making those students well-rounded students. We can see the art, the sports, the languages, everything coming together, the clubs, the student council, teachers, you know, working really hard, being passionate about supporting students and creating fun activities and as many opportunities as possible, experiential learning as well, leadership opportunities. So it's very impressive to see that on our scale already in middle school. And we can also see, you know, what's happening in lower school is being developed in middle school. By the time students leave middle school, they know themselves better. They're ready to face more challenges, I mean, good ones, in upper school. So really in the middle, with parent support, students thrive, they can thrive, they're getting support from everyone. And I think it's very positive.
Yeah, it's super positive, and you know, I think it all starts with the leadership, and yours has been fantastic. My sense is that, I mean, you already knew the school at some level from before, but then you know, you kind of you know, things change a little bit, and you came back, and that first piece is sort of getting your feet on the ground and understanding things. And I feel like now you're in a position to look ahead. What's in front for you in terms of our middle school, and what are the next step? What's the next level? What do you hope to achieve as it unfolds in front of us?
Well, I think for middle school, the goal would really be for every grade level to really have an understanding of what's coming, what path they're on, how they can still develop as people, you know, individuals, and create more bonds together and support each other as well. So I think with the teachers and different programs we have, we really want to work on that and get them to become more and more independent, stay healthy, be happy as well. We know it's a difficult time sometimes, you know, but yeah, I think my goal would be to work with a team and keep reinforcing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. Thanks for being with us for the length of the program, and thanks for everything that you're doing. And to our audience that tuned in and our guests, some of whom are still with us, we really appreciate you and everything that you do. And yeah, there's lots of exciting opportunities coming up. And I look forward to connecting with people, and especially on the 3rd, going to be right there in the thick of it. I want to thank Lucas Anderson, who's our producer. A lot of work that goes into that. And everybody that was on in the audience, thank you for joining. And go Rams, and thanks for being part of CampFire. We'll be back at the end of February with a CampFire that's focused on Black History Month and some of the other things that we're doing here at school. So I wish you well.